Yo, what's going on, fellow humans of Earth? It's Sunday, September 16th, and this video here is just going to be the general update for the day. We've had some Q posts with some very important points in there to discuss, and then I've got a few articles to talk about. Towards the end of this video, we're going to touch on SpaceX, the Vatican, and a couple other things. So, getting into it. First point I want to make is I have seen a load of naivety and gullibility all around the past couple of days. You know, people are taking speculations and completely latching onto them, acting as if they're fact, without doing the proper fact-checking, without doing the proper sourcing, etc., etc. And one example of this I've seen is this photograph of Melania Trump go around the past day with what looks like to be a pink Q on her dress, but when you actually do some digging and research this, you'll find that this is a photoshopped image. It's not actually a Q that was on her dress. This photograph originally was taken in Poland in July of last year, and you can see it's actually more of an O. It's a pink O on her dress. Well, within the last couple days, somebody photoshopped a little Q tail on it, and it spread like wildfire across the internet, and people are thinking that this is legit. And this might not seem like something that's very important, but it actually is, because in instances like this, planted disinformation, it's a very easy way to discredit the movement. Any sort of mainstream or alternative propaganda outlet could take this and claim, oh, these Q folks, these researchers are latching on to all this bullshit, etc., etc. It's just a very easy way to discredit, and it's a very easy way to show a lack of discernment. That's the lesson here, is to truly discern and get good at doing so and actually make the effort to do so. Don't just hear some speculation that superficially sounds good and latch onto that, right? So that's my first point. Now let's get into just discussing Q. So handful of posts over the last couple days. We're going to start right here with post 2172, and it says, the week of September 17th, we're basically going to get the FISA declassification coming, more incriminating texts released against those within the FBI and DOJ, the deep staters. The dark is coming to light. And then Q links us this article from CNN that says, the presidential alert, FEMA to test the emergency alert system next week, that being this week on Thursday, actually. So on Thursday, we're likely going to get some messages straight to our phone of a test of the emergency alert system. Now, one more thing that Q also mentioned in regards to the test of the emergency alert system is this latest post right here, 2186. It says the test on Thursday by the Department of Defense is to confirm the free flow of direct communications. POTUS specifically authorized the request. Think the football. Now, side note, the football is in reference to something the president has. It's a briefcase that's nicknamed the football because the president is basically the quarterback. And this briefcase that they call the football is it's a way that the president can make a nuclear attack happen if he were away from the White House or away from Central Command. So it's basically a way that he can give orders when he's away from his desk. So in thinking of this post now, with this test to confirm the emergency broadcast system, it's basically a way for the military to, right here, like it says, confirm the free flow of direct communications, make sure there's no way the bad actors can dampen or disrupt any of these messages getting out to the public. As it says right here, the NSA is monitoring for any attempts to disrupt or terminate access. So it's very important for the Trump administration and the white hats to completely go around the mainstream media, the alternative media, and if various pieces of the internet were to go down or be blocked, they need a way to communicate with the American public. This is a test of that. So be warned, very big things coming, tests of the emergency broadcast system, and those tests are going to soon, I'm sure, turn into real messages getting sent out to the public. Now, the next post to go into, this is very important. Again, Q continues to reiterate this point once or twice a week. They want us divided by race, religion, culture, class, political affiliation. Very important one, political affiliation. Point I want to make here is that I still see very intelligent, very compassionate, well-meaning people get caught up by that duality, any sort of dividing duality that our social engineers have ingrained into us. You see, they have ingrained it so deeply into our subconscious that many people, they don't even realize that they are dividing with their words. They are getting attached to the labels and creating the division that way. They don't even realize they're doing it when they speak, right? We need to become very self-aware and aware of others when they're using that sort of language. Whether it's any sort of my team, my religion, your religion, right? My Jesus is better than your God. Come pray to my God because that's the only way to get into heaven. Crap like that, right? My political party is better than your political party, you damn liberal, you damn leftist. It's stuff like that that's completely dividing and frankly immature ways of thinking. So we need to do away with that and understand that we're all on the same team. Even if we have different beliefs, even with different beliefs, we're still on the same team, okay? So don't look down or berate anybody else just because they think differently than you. Everybody's on their own stage of the path, okay? And then let's see here, another link in regards to a National Review article talking about the FISA application, panic in DC, because that's getting disclosed this week. Right here, Q links a Twitter post saying, "Together we are strong, together we win." And this tweet is this one. So Mike Flynn, General Flynn, was accepting an award this weekend at an event hosted by the Gateway Pundit news outlet. And we got some more to talk about in regards to General Flynn, some very interesting things that we'll get to. Let's see here. Q is then reiterating many points in regards to the completely phony Russia investigation. Q saying, why was the Secret Service codename for Barack Obama renegade? Well, what's a synonym of renegade? It means traitor. It means somebody who broke away and is turning on their own country or their own organization. It's exactly what Obama did. It's right there in our faces. It has been the whole time. Let's see here. Q then says, buckle up, memes at the ready, and links a couple of articles discussing how Facebook is going to start fact-checking memes. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. Let's talk about it again here. So Facebook is actually making an artificial intelligence algorithm that is going to start looking at memes, actually, because memes are very difficult for them to combat. With no text in the actual photograph, their algorithms don't notice any key words that they might want to label or censor, you see? And they only have so many humans on staff, so many people that can look at every single video or every single photograph that's posted and censor them. So Facebook is creating a new algorithm that's going to use AI to fact-check memes and photographs, because that's how impactful memes are to the collective consciousness. That's how much they're waking everybody up. They're waking everybody up so much that our big tech social media companies now have to combat them. It's actually pretty funny if you think about it. Memes are literally waking up the world. It's amazing. And then Q says here, attempts to Snowden 2, the NSA failed. So there was a sleeper, we could say, a sort of sleeper cell, a mole that was trying to leak NSA data and then make the NSA look bad, so there would be more reining in, per se. The Congress and whatever legislation would get passed through to try to hamper the NSA's abilities to collect data, especially on the bad guys. But the attempts to do that failed, and now they're scrambling. So that's pretty much the main themes in regards to these Q posts. FISA getting dropped soon. Social media is stepping up their censorship game because they're just losing the battle. And the biggest one, do not get caught up by the division, no matter what that division is. Religion, belief systems, race, whatever the case is. It's all nonsense. Okay, now, moving on from that, let's go into the last few articles that I want to share with you guys here. One thing I do want to note, though, shout out to a sponsor of this YouTube channel, Noble Gold Investments. They are an amazing family-run business out of Texas that helps you invest your money into precious metals, gold and silver, which have a much higher return, much better investment than the fluctuating, unstable stock market. So look into Noble Gold. There'll be a link in the description if you want to get in touch with them and check out what they can do to help you invest your money into gold and silver. Now, one piece of amazing confirmation that I do want to make a note of before we move on is this right here. So speaking of General Flynn, again, like I said, he had that event that he spoke at where he accepted some awards this weekend, not last weekend, still Sunday, this weekend. And at this event, he actually signed some people's books. This is Flynn's book right here called The Field of Fight. He signed some of the books as Where We Go One, We Go All. So if this isn't some sort of confirmation, I don't know what is. I don't know what is going to shut up all the Q haters, anti-Q trolls out there. They're literally must be paying very good money to do what they're doing. Totally paid off. Flynn, who knows if he's just a spectator? Who knows if he's involved in some way, shape, or form? But with this right here, him writing Where We Go One, We Go All in people's books, what else do you need to know that this is legit? And this is a very legitimate operation being put into play. That right there. Okay, last few articles I want to share with you guys. SpaceX is announcing this week a private tourist who will fly to the moon. They're going to fly to the moon on a brand new rocket that SpaceX is developing. They're calling it the BFR, big frickin' rocket. And apparently, it's going to shoot somebody around the moon in a couple of years whenever it's developed and ready. Not sure when, but points I want to make with this one, I don't know. I've never been a fan of SpaceX, quite honestly. Never been a huge fan of Elon Musk, simply because a lot of the science that they deal with, it's either A, archaic science. We don't need rocket fuel anymore. We don't need rockets, period. There's science and technology out there, electrogravitics, anti-gravity, if you want to call it that, 0-point free energy systems that could completely do away with any sort of fossil fuel. So the technologies that Elon Musk is acting like is the latest and greatest is really not. Not only that, but a lot of the, quote, theoretical physics science, Elon Musk, maybe he knows and just doesn't speak it, or maybe he actually doesn't know it. But point being here, SpaceX, to me, is just as much of a smokescreen as NASA is, right? We don't need rockets. We don't need this technology. We could have done away with all this decades ago. Let's actually inform ourselves and understand that free energy, anti-gravity is absolutely real. It's been done. It's been done for decades. And in fact, it's been built out quite a bit in secret space programs and black corporate military projects. So that's the point I want to make with that there. Next article says here, as Pope faces crisis in Rome, Cardinal warns of split in China. So every single day now, it seems like there's some new news coming out that is completely discrediting, that's annihilating the Vatican's reputation. And it seems like every day there's something happening in a new country. We had an archbishop in Germany step forward in recent days, and a big report released there. It was published that was completely lighting up the Vatican. We have stuff going on in this country, of course, many allegations surfacing. Now China, right? The Vatican worldwide is absolutely crumbling. And it's good news. It's harsh news. It's going to hit a lot of people very deep. A lot of people have very deep emotional ties to religious institutions and to religious dogma, but we really have to break that emotional attachment to the belief systems. It's not only is the Vatican god-awful, but a lot of this religious dogma that has been ingrained into so many people for centuries now is so self-limiting, and people don't even realize that. They're completely giving away their own sovereignty and their own personal power just for these feel-good stories and these feel-good superficial ideas that is religious dogma. So there's this whole relearning that we're going to have to do about ancient history and about spirituality, and the fact that spirituality does not come from these establishment organized religious institutions that were created to control our minds and to control humanity. That's that. Next article. Time said today, cancer will kill about 10 million people this year. Now, this might be made up just to scare us, might be some fear porn. I wouldn't doubt if this was real though, because it seems as if, I think studies have shown 1 in 2, 1 in 3 people now will get cancer at some point in their lives, and it's just exponentially increasing because we live such unhealthy lifestyles. We are horribly ignorant when it comes to how our own bodies function, how to move and feed and take care of ourselves. So unfortunately, we're not taught that in schooling, and we're not taught that by our doctors, and all the stuff that we get from the mainstream media is bullshit, right? And not only that, but we're not told about how toxic our environments are, all the poisons that are sprayed over our heads, sprayed in the atmosphere, injected right into us, that we unknowingly drink every single day, that we eat, that it's horrible. It's really horrible. So point here I want to make is educate yourself. Educate yourself on what is healthy, what is not healthy. Not only that, but take that knowledge and put it into practice, okay? They often say knowledge is not power, but that's not enough. Knowledge is just potential. What are you actually going to do with that knowledge? Are you going to apply that knowledge? It's actually the application of it that is the power, because you're setting that knowledge into motion with the action, okay? So cancer can be eradicated with simply an increase in consciousness. Understand that, guys, and really take the effort to learn about yourself, self-knowledge, how you function, and we can totally get rid of all this needless suffering from these unnecessary diseases. Boom. Done with that point. Very last thing I want to talk about here. So the Solar Observatory made video of this recently, talked about it in my live streams, but it's just crazy to me how this story won't die. Every single day, there's a new round of mainstream media articles about it. And every single day, there's new narratives that they're trying to put out there, whether they're trying to ridicule, quote, alien conspiracy theorists or whatever the hell they say, or if they're trying to put some fear porn out there about some geomagnetic storms or solar flares, or whether they're just trying to say, oh, it's crazy, nobody knows what's going on. It's this huge cover-up that's not really a cover-up because everybody now knows about it. So, I mean, regardless, it's a very intriguing story. Still a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of things to speculate, but I'm going to reiterate a point here that I made at the very beginning of this video, is that understand when things are speculations and understand when things are facts, okay? I'm seeing a lot of people, again, be very gullible, latch on to these theories that people present that don't have any evidence, that have very little, if any, sourcing. It's just, I mean, it's good to go through a mental exercise to try to connect dots and put out some guesstimations and theorize and speculate, right? But if you actually don't have proper evidence, then understand that and make sure that you say what you're thinking is a theory or a speculation. I'm seeing people think that, oh, this Solar Observatory is being hacked by the Chinese, and that's the reason. They think that's the fact. Well, who said this, okay? Do you actually know if that's true? What evidence do you have behind their claims, right? People hear a claim and they run with it so easily. Don't do that. Make sure you have the supporting evidence, or there is any sort of sourcing behind that claim before you run with it, okay? Very, very important. This is the age of spin, the age of twisted information that we're in, all sorts of different narratives out there behind any single topic. So do the due diligence. Do the due diligence to discern and research and inform yourself. Truly inform yourself. Don't just run with whatever sounds good in that moment. So there you go, guys. That's my video for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm off to LA very soon, and then I'll be back home after that. So lots of good work coming, lots of great videos coming. I'll be seeing you. Let me rephrase that. You'll be seeing me very soon. Take care.